Hey guys, what up? Total Control 871. We got a very detailed oriented topic tonight. It's only one topic, the Florida mask battle. The debate and let's see, there's the mandate and then there's the ban on the mandate, okay? We've got some material to go over here. I am hoping like hell I can be the cavalry or one of the cavalries. I'm sure Governor DeSantis has a lot of very smart lawyers. What can I say? I just can't resist the urge to backseat drive. And hey, you never know. Maybe I do have some pretty good insight on this. Okay, so what we're talking about here, we have, this is a Zoom meeting, as we can see. It was a 3-day hearing. Parents, a collection of parents, filed a lawsuit. It's really crazy when you think about this. So these parents, they filed a lawsuit as if you would think that they are being denied something. It's very, very important to remember here because if I'm not mistaken, our little melodrama CNN hussy that sat there with, Vivek Murthy, and she goes, are we going to see children start dying? And I found that interesting because she literally says that she lies. She just tells a bold-faced lie on CNN saying that Governor Murphy wants to ban your ability to wear a mask, your child's prerogative to wear a mask. And of course, that is probably the first thing I want to blow a whistle on tonight. Governor Murphy. Governor DeSantis isn't trying to deny you of anything. Governor DeSantis is simply trying to preserve the rights of every other parent, okay? So you can report to school, wear as many face suffocators as you want, okay? You just can't force other people to do that. And it's very important to draw these distinctions and hold on to this stuff as we go over tonight's material. This is about almost 4 minutes, and I have to play it all because this is definitely a detailed oriented episode here. Our judge, in case you're wondering where he's at, he's right down here. He's the person that will be speaking. So pay very close attention to the details. And you know what? We're going to go over a whole lot because after you hear him talk, you're probably not really going to be able to catch everything that he says because believe me, I had to listen to it a number of times myself. And then, then after listening to him, I had to go and, of course, do my research to start digging into it. So I'll let you guys listen.
Therefore, an executive order and or an agency action or an executive action which bans under all circumstances a face mask mandate for school children without a parental opt-out does not meet constitutional muster because such action exceeds the authority given to the defendants under the Parents' Bill of Rights law passed by the Florida legislature.
I want to back something up here because I think people are mishearing because I've heard people start saying about this fiasco, well, what are you anti-mask people talking about? He just said that the parents can opt out. Listen closely.
An executive order and or an agency action or an executive action which bans under all circumstances a face mask mandate for school children without a parental opt-out does
what the judge is talking about there. The parental opt-out, that was the option that was included in by Governor DeSantis, okay? If there was a parental opt-out, then the ban on the mandate would have never been enacted. And I'm going to prove that to you. So let's just keep listening.
Not meet constitutional muster because such action exceeds the authority given to the defendants under the Parents' Bill of Rights law passed by the Florida legislature. Seeking to enforce a policy through the executive order and through actions that violate the provisions of the Parents' Bill of Rights is by definition arbitrary and capricious because there is no reasonable or rational justification for not following, no reasonable or rational justification for not following all of the provisions of a duly enacted and authorized Florida law. A policy or action which violates the Parents' Bill of Rights cannot be lawfully enforced by the defendants. The executive order and or agency action as described above and heard in this case, which violates the Parents' Bill of Rights, exceeds any authority to issue the executive order to the extent it sets in motion or causes a violation of the Parents' Bill of Rights, and exceeds the authority of the defendants that was granted to them by the legislature in the Parents' Bill of Rights. An executive order ordering or setting in motion a violation of the Parents' Bill of Rights is without legal authority. Further such action, in other words, ordering something or taking an action which is a violation of a Florida statute, is by definition arbitrary, unreasonable, and violates the separation of powers doctrine because it would exceed the powers granted by the legislature in the Parents' Bill of Rights, because such action would not permit the school board authority, which has adopted a mask mandate, to demonstrate the reasonableness of it, whether it was necessary to achieve a compelling state interest, is narrowly tailored, and not otherwise served by less restricted means.
We're going to take a very hard look at the language that he just used right there. As much as I'd love to rewind and replay and all that stuff, unless I show you the actual law itself, then you're not going to be able to understand, and we are going to be looking at the actual law itself. So let's just let the judge finish this out, shall we?
All of which is expressly permitted by the legislature in the Florida Bill of Rights. As previously stated earlier in this order, a school district adopting a policy such as a mask mandate is acting within its discretion. It has been given this discretion by the Florida legislature in the Parents' Bill of Rights, so long as the requirements for the policy provided for in the Parents' Bill of Rights are met. I'm not saying the legislature has unbridled discretion. They can't just the school boards, they can't just do whatever they want to. They can't do that. They have to meet the requirements the legislature set forth to authorize them to take certain acts involving education and health. In the Florida Bill of Rights. As previously stated earlier in this order, a school district adopting a policy such as a mask mandate is acting within its discretion. It has been given this discretion by the Florida legislature in the Parents' Bill of Rights, so long as the requirements for the policy provided for in the Parents' Bill of Rights are met. I'm not saying the legislature has unbridled discretion. They can't just the school boards, they can't just do whatever they want to.
Oh, my friend. I don't think this judge completely understands what he's doing here. It's extremely important to hold on to that part where he says that these school boards can't just do whatever they want. But this judge doesn't understand. By twisting and mutating, it's like a sentence in this thing, okay? In this law, in the Parents' Bill of Rights for Florida, okay? He doesn't understand the catastrophic, slippery slope that he is about to unleash. Let's let this finish out.
They can't do that. They have to meet the requirements the legislature set forth to authorize them to take certain acts involving education and health. But so long as they do that, the doctrine of separation of powers requires that the discretionary power exercised by the school board cannot be interfered by the judiciary or by the executive branch of government, and neither the judiciary nor the executive can substitute their judgment for the school board's power.
Okay, I don't want to sit here geeking out over all the nuggets that I unearthed tonight, so let's just simply get right into it, okay? But like I said, this judge, he doesn't understand what he's doing. All right, so here we are, Florida House Representatives. This is the bill in question, HB 241, Parents' Bill of Rights. I'll just do a little scrolling here. That's pretty much it. Let's take a look at it, shall we? Actually, hold on. I want to read this story first. Some of it, anyway. All right, so this is it, the same one, because it has the characters' names and stuff like this. All right, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Florida School District can legally require their students to wear suffocators to prevent their computer printout virus. Judge ruled Friday saying Governor Ron DeSantis overstepped his authority. overstepped his authority when he issued an executive order banning such mandates. Leon County Circuit Judge John C. Cooper agreed with a group of parents who claimed in a lawsuit that DeSantis' order is unconstitutional, okay, and cannot be enforced. The governor's order gave parents the sole right to decide if their child should wear a suffocator, wear a mask. I mean, you gotta think this is crazy. I'm gonna sue you because you're giving me choice. Who the hell do you think you are giving me choice? I need my choice taken away from me, damn it. Now you're beginning to see how crazy things have gotten. Okay. Cooper said DeSantis' order is without legal authority. Really now? His decision came after a 3-day virtual hearing. That's what we just watched. That was his ruling from the 3-day virtual hearing. And after 10 Florida school boards voted to defy DeSantis and impose suffocator requirements with no parental opt-out. With no parental opt-out. That's why Judge Cooper said without parental opt-out. Because the judge wanted to be clear. He wanted to make sure that basically he's saying that, yes, I know you want an opt-out, but I'm not giving you an opt-out. Okay? With no with no parental opt-out. Excuse me, everybody. My throat has been getting a little bit better, although this is the first time that I've talked tonight. What, it's 11:26 at night, and this is the first time I've spoken. I know I might be a little wacky, but I don't exactly sit around talking to myself out loud. Anyway, districts have done so include Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, West Palm Beach, and others, Cooper, and others. Cooper's ruling will not go into effect until it is put into writing, which the judge asked the parents' lawyers to complete by Monday. Cooper said that while the governor and others have argued that a new Florida law gives parents the ultimate authority to oversee health issues for their children. It also exempts government actions that are needed to protect the public health and are reasonable and limited in scope. He said, it's like I keep missing my periods. What's up with that? He said a school district's decision to require students suffocate to prevent the spread of a computer printout virus falls within that exemption. Okay. Let's continue on because I don't want to waste too much time going back over stuff. The law does doesn't ban the law doesn't ban mask mandates at all. Talking about the parental rights, he's saying that parental rights don't ban mask mandates. Um, Yes, it does ban them. Cooper said during a 2 hour hearing that was conducted online because of the resurgence of the fake pandemic. It doesn't require that a mask mandate must include a parental opt out at all. See, he's making sure that you cannot opt out and that you are thoroughly and completely stripped of your parental rights. Some weird shit. The judge also noted that two Florida Supreme Court decisions from 1914 1939 found that individual rights are limited by their impact on the rights of others. For example, he said adults have no right to drink alcohol, but not to drive drunk. You can drink alcohol but not drive drunk because that endangers others. There, there's free speech, but and they go into the whole crowded theater thing, that overused metaphor. I am going to stop right now because I wanted to give you guys a little bit of munitions report here, a little bit of artillery to fight these wacky narratives with. I've heard this before. I've heard the seatbelt one. I've heard the drunk driving one. And basically, here is the reply. Here is the return serve to these things, okay? Drunk driving is scientifically quantified, okay? Need I remind you, it's a painful reminder, but you are going to have to come to terms with it. You're talking about a virus that hasn't even been isolated, okay? So right now, you're just talking about protecting people from a computer printout and a collection of symptoms, okay? Symptoms, are they coming from your poor lifestyle choice? Who knows? When we hear about these children coming down with these respiratory infections, how do you know if it isn't they live in a smoker's household? Okay? I feel bad. I've got a cousin that went to prison for murder, and she definitely stabbed this person. All right, there's no question about that. But my whole point was that this was cousin Bernice, Lord rest her soul, cousin Bernice's children, and cousin Bernice smoked a lot of crack cocaine. This is talk about your mask. This is aerosolized. This is in the air. There are a lot of drugs, and this went on for a great many years. I was exposed to it for about maybe 6 months, and these children, well, they were exposed to it their entire life. Yes, that's going to affect your brain function. Who knows what's actually putting these children into the hospital? And that's kind of my point here, is that you can't say for certain, you can't say for sure. Let's continue on here because I really want to. God, I'm at 19 minutes already. Jesus Christ. We don't have that right because exercising the right in that way is harmful and potentially harmful to other people. No, because see what happens. There you go. I almost lost what I was talking about. The drunk driving thing. The drunk driving thing and the seatbelt thing. It's universal and across the board. Meaning, to mix my metaphors here, when I hear these things down in the comment section, when they say, why do you wear a seatbelt then? Or if they know I'm a cyclist, then why do you wear a bicycle helmet? Simple. It doesn't make a difference if I get into a collision in the parking lot of, say, a CPAC convention, or if I get into a collision in the parking lot of the Democratic National Convention. Okay? Because clearly, by your own scientists, okay, one of these mass gatherings is a COVID super spreader and the other one is not. We saw how Governor Abbott got roasted for being PCR positive and being out and about and living like a normal human being. Yet nobody wanted to roast Obama for his birthday bash, or Nancy Pelosi and her fundraising extravaganza. None of these are ever considered super spreaders. You see what I'm saying? Physics are universal. It doesn't make a difference if you're in a Republican convention when you have your collision. Your body's going to react to physics, momentum, distribution, physics, impact, all that. Okay? If you're drunk in the parking lot or drunk coming and going from a conservative gathering, you're drunk. You can have your crash there versus being drunk coming and going from a Democratic National Convention. You see what I'm saying? Am I mixing my metaphors clear enough for you? You see, when they talk about the drunk thing or the seatbelt thing, those things are universal. It doesn't matter what your geolocation is. Okay? If you're going to get ejected from the vehicle, then it's going to happen. It doesn't make a difference what your political stripes are. But apparently, when it comes to COVID, well, it very much indeed makes a difference what your political stripes are. And that's incredibly important to bear in mind and remember, because this judge, as we heard in his order, in his decree, in his dissent, or whatever, not dissent, but you know what I'm saying. He's saying that he was saying that had to collect my thoughts. Basically, what the judge is saying is that the virus, it is, in his opinion, quantified. DeSantis did indeed. This goes on to say that DeSantis brought forth his medical experts, scientific experts, and of course the deep state had Judge Cooper swat them away. Oh, well, your people are in the minority. Of course, it's a Jewish oligarchy. We're going against the Jewish oligarchy here. And of course, he goes on to talk about, basically he's saying that the virus, it's real and a real threat. And this judge is basically of the belief that the only way that this virus can be combated and protect our children is using these face suffocators, okay? And this goes back to what I was saying, control data. Control data. Let's see, do I want to say anything else here? I think there was something else in this report that I wanted to point out. Yes, here we go. In the same vein, let's see if my highlighter works. Highlighter. There we go. In the same vein, he said school boards can reasonably argue that maskless students endanger the health of other students and teachers. Okay, so in that same vein, he said school boards can argue. So he's saying that these school boards should be entitled the right to argue. But arguing is not what the law says. And I think from here we're going to springboard over to our law. You have to be able to, because if you listen closely to what he was saying in the video, that school boards have to should have the right to demonstrate. There's more to what he was talking about. All right, I don't want to get too long here in my metadata. Yeah, he's saying, all right, so he says they have the right to argue. No, the law doesn't say argue. The law says you have to prove it. Let's take a look. Okay, if you recall what the judge was saying, he was citing some language from this law. This is our HB 241. This is the Parents' Rights Bill parental rights bill, law. It's no longer a bill; it's a law. Excuse me. Uh, and if you recall what the judge was saying, what the judge is literally trying to do. I know some of you guys are new to the bit shoot and whatnot. On my YouTube channel, I was a cycling advocate. There was something called lane control. One of the laws, the police, excuse me, the police in my area, in the South Jersey area, they wrote me countless tickets. It eventually all culminated in the unlawful suspension of my driver's license. Yeah, from riding a bicycle. No, what I'm about to say does not involve a motor vehicle whatsoever. And the law in question for that particular thing was Title 39, 414. Points 1 and 2. The reading of that law says that a cyclist has the right to take lane control. That means get into the center of your about 10 or 11 foot wide lane in order for a cyclist to be expected to share a lane of travel. The lane has to be about 14 feet wide. Very few of those actually are. I would take something called temporary lane control for a couple of blocks to get, until the shoulder of the road opened back up, stuff like that. And there were all sorts of things. Not only was the lane width that gave me, that entitled me to utilize lane control, but also road conditions. In the gutter, is there dirt, sand, debris, drainage grates, broken roadway, concrete, things that would cause me injury. All of these things are present, okay? And to fortify this, there is a New Jersey Supreme Court ruling, Posel v. Essex. I used to talk about it a lot on the channel. As a guy, him and his wife out cycling, wife hit a depression on the road from riding on the shoulder, on the margin of the road, lost control, bad. She had a helmet on, lost control, bad head injury. She ended up dying about a month later. He wanted to sue the state of New Jersey. He lost. Basically, the ruling was cyclists have the right. That's what Title 39, 414 does for you. You have the right. You didn't have to stay in the gutter. That's because it was Justice Albin was the one that gave his opinion. Justice Albin said that no. You do not win this case. This is not because you have the right as a cyclist to attend to your own safety. Free will, free choice. See the correlation? Free will. Attend to your own safety. You can't expect the state of New Jersey to hold your hand. Our roadways, thoroughfare, infrastructure, infinitely huge. Okay. You're going to have to make your own decisions for yourself, okay? Despite me having all of this, I was constantly, unlawfully, and wrongly convicted of these traffic tickets again and again and again. And the tickets that they wrote me was for Title 39, 414. That's what was on the ticket. That's what they're using. They're using Governor DeSantis's own parental right law to convict him. They're doing the same thing they did to me. They're now doing to, not only to Governor DeSantis, but to all of the parents down Florida who want free choice, medical autonomy. Okay? It's the craziest, most psychotic thing. In that court case of mine with fighting the tickets, number one, because the cop, he got greedy in his ticket writing. And he wrote, because most bicycle tickets, they don't entitle you to legal representation to a public defender, a free public defender. But because this particular cop, he thought he'd get cute and greedy and write me tickets, put like this, the tickets, it qualified me for a public defender. And what Judge Michelle Verno, Egg Harbor Township Judge Michelle Verno, before the trial started, she said to me, Mr. Dunbar, what we're going to do is we're not going to consider an incarceration or loss of your driver's license as a possible outcome if you get convicted. And frankly, by saying that, it means that she's already convicting me before one word has ever been spoken. Okay? In the doing of that, in taking incarceration and loss of driver's license off the table, she then separates me from legal counsel unlawfully, illegally. All manner of laws were broken here. Do you see what I'm talking about? I get it. I get it. Mine was just a bicycle ticket. I even did videos talking about eerily predicting, trying to tell my audience, even though if you're not a cyclist, you should be extremely concerned about what's happening to me because it's starting extremely dangerous precedents. When there is this much exonerating evidence, drainage grates, road damage, narrow lane width, all these boxes that tick, I wasn't even allowed to read the statute. Whenever I open my mouth, because this is a second trial in Judge John Rosenberger. Judge John Rosenberger wouldn't even allow me to read the charge that I was charged with in court. I'm not talking about waxing and pontificating and woe is me. Quite frankly, he probably would have allowed me to do that. But he didn't want me to actually engage and read my charges aloud. When I told other attorneys about this, I'm not an attorney, but when I told attorneys about this, I got a couple of friends that are attorneys, and they were flabbergasted. They had no idea that's psychotic. Every defendant is allowed to get up and read their charge and read the language of the law that they're being charged with. It's psychotic. All of this was violated. I even did a thing. I talked about how I did a metaphor. I talked about how it's like playing chess with somebody who gets frustrated and angry at you constantly winning. And they look down at the pieces. They look at your latest move on the chessboard, and they get angry and they just go, and just dash all the pieces off of the chessboard because they're angry. They don't want to play they want to play, but not by the rules anymore. To hell with the rules. Okay? All right, I said enough of that. Let's get into this. But I want you to understand what is going on. We're talking about some serious violations going on in courtrooms. We already heard the CNN anchor talk about, oh my God, parents aren't allowed to send their kids with a mask on. That's a lie. You can send them as many as you want, as many as they're willing to wear. Okay. All right, come on. The legislator finds that it is fundamental right of parents to direct the upbringing, education, and care of their minor children. The legislature further finds that important information relating to a minor child should not be withheld either inadvertently or purposely from his or her parent, including information relating to a minor child's health, well-being, education, while the minor child is in the custody of the school district. The legislator further finds it is necessary to establish a consistent mechanism for parents to be notified of information relating to the health, well-being of their minor child. For purposes of this chapter, the term parent means a person who has legal custody of a minor or natural adoptive parent or legal guardian. All right, we're getting into section 4. This is the part where Judge Cooper hijacks, just like how they hijacked the language in my law that I was Title 39, 414. Judge Cooper hijacks this law. And the dangerous part is what he does. The perversion that he does in Section 4 has diabolical consequences in Section 5. All right. Infringement of parental rights. The state. Any of its political. If you listen to me, you're going to hear me say the same things the judge was talking about. This is where the judge was saying, where he was quoting from. Infringement of parental rights. The state, any of its political subdivisions, and any other any other governmental entity or any other institution may not infringe on the fundamental rights of a parent to direct the upbringing, education, health care, and mental health of his or her minor child without, get my marker, demonstrating that such action is reasonable and necessary to achieve a compelling state interest, and that such action is narrowly tailored and is not otherwise served by a lesser restrictive means. That's the part that our judge is hijacking. Let's walk you through this. Demonstrating. Okay? Right now, our deep state mask fanatics, they've got their theory. It is our theory that there is a dangerous virus that has never ever been quantified. Okay? A dangerous virus that, strangely enough, pretty much left our children alone last school year down here in Florida. Because I get it. Other schools were all virtual and all that stuff. But what about last year's control data? Oh, well, it's Delta. What's happening now is different from last year. Okay. But let's not overlook the fact that last year, children attended school in person and they were just fine. Right. Okay. So then your supposition is that the virus has mutated to such an extent that it is now a danger to children. And your evidence of that is, see? That's the demonstration part. Remember, the judge said that they have the right to argue. No, judge. The law doesn't say argue. The law says to demonstrate. Okay? I used the metaphor before. What was it? I'm going to get you, sucker. Cherry. Jack can claim he's got a 12-incher. But once you get back to Cherry's apartment, buddy, you're going to have to demonstrate it. Do you understand? There is no scientific proof. The PBS article that we just left, they referenced the Brown University or something. He said the judge swatted that away, saying that its authors, most likely under pressure, recanted and said, oh, okay, you can't come to that conclusion though. So we had authors come out and say that masking does very little, and then of course the Jewish oligarchy came down on them, and then we've seen this a couple of times already now, where people will come out with these studies and they'll all of a sudden like, whoa, oh my God, I didn't know this was going to come down on me if I didn't, being basically excommunicated from the scientific community. And this is what they have to do. The burden is on the state. See, everybody keeps coming to us, the deniers. Where's your proof? No. The burden of proof isn't ours. It's yours. It rests squarely on your shoulders. You're the one that's going to have to come out with a detailed scientific study that explains how basically every last single fabric in existence, because remember now, they're saying that your child, as long as they got whatever, as long as what this, my Superman shirt, I can cut that up and that's gonna qualify. Okay? Me do-rag? Where's my do-rag? Hmm? My doo-doo? My doobie-doo? You can practically see through this thing. You can see me. Hey guys. Woo! Can I use this? Boom, 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 boom. Ooh, I feel like, ooh, am I a harem princess? There's a place in France where the neck of the mirror dance. And a hole in the wall where the roaches see it all. Hey, woo! Huh? Can I use this as a mask? I'm just saying. You have to demonstrate. Huh? It's not my burden, that's your burden, buddy. You're the one that's going to have to demonstrate in concrete, scientific, quantifiable terms exactly how something like a virus can be stopped. Not through anecdotes, not through cartoon animation. You can't lower the lights in the courtroom. Here, Your Honor, here's a little cartoon we put together. Ooh, see our cartoon, giant coronavirus cartoons bouncing off the cartoon mask? The cartoon virus bounces off the cartoon mask. That is that your scientific study? Huh? Or maybe you've got a high school, it doesn't have to be high school. Maybe you've got a junior high or an elementary science project where you hollowed out a styrofoam head wig. Don't they use styrofoam heads for women? They when they're not wearing their wigs, they put them on styrofoam heads. So you get your wife's styrofoam head from the wig collection, hollow out a hole from the neck out to the mouth, and then you just pipe just vapor. Vapor. Speaking of which, you can smoke and vape through your mask. So you would have to demonstrate and you would have to prove, okay? And this portion also goes on to reference control data. Basically, when they talk about demonstrating that such action is reasonable and necessary. Excuse me. Not only do you have to demonstrate it, but you have to demonstrate that it's both reasonable. Is it reasonable to obstruct children's, we're talking for 7 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, indefinitely? Because in your demonstration, you'd have to tell us, well, when does this begin? When does it end? It's already been 1.5 years, going on 2 years. And you want us to believe that this is reasonable? And it's necessary? Where are all your dead children? Where are all your sick children that don't have cancer? Okay? Where are all your healthy children without all these comorbidities? That make this reasonable and necessary. Cannot believe I'm at 45 already. This is going to be 1:20, I can tell you already. Achieve a compelling state interest. Okay. Compelling state interest. Do you know what they're talking about when they say this? As such an action is narrowly tailored and is not otherwise served by a less restrictive means. Now, narrowly tailored. When does it begin? When does it end? You don't know and you can't say. Correct? See? So much for your narrowly tailored. You see, The judge, he quickly read these words, but he didn't really discuss them like I'm doing, okay? All right, Judge Cooper, he just kind of Judge Cooper simply saw this part and was like, boy, this is all I really need. I'm going to take this and run with it. Okay? But he didn't really go on to really understand the remainder of it. State interest. Okay. Why was this even put in? If it can create confusion, then why was this put in? I'm about to show you. The reason is because it is true. The state school authorities, they do have to step in when children are in danger.
The last time we saw Crystal Champ, she could not break the grip of addiction to heroin and crystal meth.
I don't want to do this. I'm happy. I'm fine being a freaking heroin addict on the street.
She refused to board a plane to a drug treatment facility. But a few days after this, Crystal and her partner Tom did get on that plane.
All right, baby.
This is Crystal Champ now, nearly 7 months sober.
A lot has changed since the last time we saw you.
Yes. Yeah, a lot has changed.
In a good way.
Yeah,
In a good way.
in a really good way.
The moment that was so painful to watch was outside the airport there, and you saying that you were perfectly happy being a homeless heroin addict.
That was true. I was comfortable in my misery, and I didn't know how to not be miserable in life at that point in time.
So I'm not gonna lie, it looks like you guys are getting ready to shoot up over here.
Years of addiction left her homeless on the streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
How far along are you? Oh my gosh.
She was 8 months pregnant when Albuquerque police officer Ryan Holitz found her shooting up heroin with her partner.
Yep, she's waking up now.
Holitz and his wife Rebecca adopted the baby, named her Hope. But that wasn't enough. The goal was to get Crystal sober and off the street.
So this is one of the several different circumstances that are readily quantifiable, just like our drunk driving. This is readily quantifiable, not to mention that, but it's also, my God, there's decades of data. The state would have very little difficulty proving that this woman is an unfit mother, you know, and that were she to be allowed to leave a hospital with her infant, sitting in some back alley with a newborn, the child's life is clearly in danger. They would have very little difficulty talking about and providing all of the concrete medical data of what's going to happen to this child. Does this mother have the money for formula? Because it definitely can't breastfeed with you using heroin. This is, basically you can do arithmetic, Well, those cans of formulas are like $25 each, right? This woman is nowhere near set up, and it would not take much at all to prove that that she just simply isn't able to do it. The officer here, God bless him and his wife. God bless him and his wife. They took baby Hope. The baby's name is Hope, and they adopted baby Hope. And now obviously the adoption isn't necessarily guaranteed, but as a law enforcement officer, yes, he has a duty. Again, by stepping in and interceding, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's guaranteed to get that baby or nothing like that. But in other words, the whole thing had a happy ending. This is what our Section 4 is talking about by achieving a compelling state interest to protect your child from a real, credible threat. I'm sorry, but your theoretical virus that didn't hurt them in the past almost 2 years, it hasn't hurt them and it still hasn't. And frankly, the only isolations in your tests, your PCR tests, are a joke. As one PCR test causes the entire building to go home and quarantine. I'm sorry, but this is not demonstrating anything. The only thing that you're demonstrating is overreacting. That's what you're demonstrating. You're demonstrating how to overreact, and you're demonstrating how to inflict serious psychological harm on a child by suffocating their face. Now, I'm hitting 50 minutes here. I want to see if I can bring this down. As I continue to read, there was something that, as I basically went on to read here in Section 5, I was like, whoa, 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 holy hell. Oh my God. And what's so shocking here is that I don't think even the mask freaks, the pro-mask freaks, I don't think they understand what they are setting into motion when you allow Section 4 to be twisted like that, and the kind of power that you're putting into the state's hand. Let's read. Section 5, Parental Rights. All parental rights are reserved to the parent of a minor child in this state without obstruction or interference from the state, any of its political subdivisions, any other governmental entity, or any other institution, including but not limited to, all for the following rights of a parent of a minor child in this state. And then it goes on to list things that the school or the state or the government could theoretically do. Our first part here talks about our ability to enroll our kids in the schools that we want to, okay? You can check it out and read it, although I do find it kind of interesting down here. Again, we talk about making healthcare decisions for your child. Now remember, as we continue to read this section, Section 5, okay, if indeed you're willing to run with Judge Cooper's football, his football of your school board doesn't have to prove. No. The school can just claim without proving. The school doesn't have to demonstrate. They can just argue. Arguing is good enough. Remember the words now that Judge Cooper's using. Arguing for a particular topic or a particular conclusion, arguing for a particular scientific theory, that's as good as demonstrating it's a real threat. They can't demonstrate it, so therefore they're just going to argue its theory. Okay? And if they're allowed to take theory and put theory into practice, this is what you need to understand as you read Section 5. If God only knows what type of radical, because even if they're not even elected and installed now on your school board, teachers, principal, superintendent, whomever, but if in the not too distant future, if some radical or collection of radicals were to step in and run with Section 4, baby, under that twisted belief of just simply claim and argue, forget about proving, just claim it. To hell with proving. Let's take a closer look at what they can simply do to your child on their own personal theory. DNA. These are the things that they can do. As I'm scrolling here, you can check it out. These are the things they can do just by arguing it's in your child's best interest. Okay? They don't have to prove, they don't have to give a detailed, narrow, a narrow, tailored beginning, ending, basically the informed consent that's discussed in the Nuremberg Code. They don't have to do any of that if you're willing to run with Judge Cooper's twisted interpretation here, where he ignores what the law actually says. Okay? I found this section rather interesting. A parent of a minor child in this state has inalienable rights that are more comprehensive than those listed in this section, because I want to make sure they, got a broad brush here, just in case they left something out, basically. Unless such rights have been legally waived or terminated. This chapter does not prescribe all rights to a parent of a minor child in this state. Unless required by law, the rights of the parent of a minor child in this state may not be limited or denied. This chapter may not be construed, to apply to a parental action or decision that would end life. Now, I have no idea if it was deliberate or accidental that they used the word life rather than abortion, because it's true, this entire law, it's meant to shield children from things like critical race theory and a whole lot of radical left stuff that, remember now, it's called reproductive health. There's that word again, health. It's public health. And as long as I'm using that terminology, well, then I can do whatever the hell I want. I can even take your precious law here, and this will be the thing that empowers me to do it. This is what's going to empower me to give your 15-year-old daughter the morning after pill. Hey, it's for your health. Life? Well, I'm a nurse practitioner or doctor, and frankly, the clump of cells that was growing in your daughter was not life. I don't think so. If you want, you can take me to court and we can fight over the definition of life. See? Are you thinking? This thing goes way beyond mask. Way beyond. Okay? Section 6 gets even more interesting. School district notifications on parental rights. Each district school board shall, in consultation with parents, teachers, and administrators, develop and adopt a policy to promote parental involvement in the public school system. Such policy may include a plan pursuant to participation in schools to improve parent-teacher cooperation in such areas, homework, school attendance, discipline. Sounds all very nice, right? Except for when it starts to scroll on. Let's see. Down here, procedure pursuant to parent to learn about his or her minor child's course of study, including the source of any supplemental educational materials. And what's so important there is that the education itself, can be deemed something that is critical to your child's health. There's that word again, health. Okay? Remember now, we're reading these things in a warped, through a distorted lens. Okay? Because it's supposed to be, Section 4 is supposed to say, parents have rights. They're the ultimate call on the rights. The only time a parent doesn't have rights is if there is a real, quantifiable, dangerous threat that you, the state, can demonstrate can clearly demonstrate. If you can do that, then you have the power to intercede. But because they're not using that, what the law actually says, if they're allowing the school board or what all these government entities, if these government entities can just simply argue a theory, I think, according to my opinion, my theory, the fact that you're not giving out condoms to your child, I think that's a threat to their reproductive health. Your child needs to be on birth control. If not, then it's a threat to their reproductive health. Okay? We want to teach these children these particular materials in school. Come on, bring back my marker. And if you don't like it, well, then we're going to override you. Just like we override you and we forced that suffocator on your child, or we're going to override you again. Yeah, we're going to override you again, and your child is going to learn the curriculum that we want them to learn. To hell with you and whatever God you think you believe in. Oh, you think I got it wrong? You think I'm exaggerating? Let's read on. Used in the class, such objections may be based on beliefs regarding morality, sex, and religion, or the belief that such materials are harmful. So if you go to a school and say, well, you know what, your curriculum, I don't like it, I think it's a threat to my child's morality, to my child's religious beliefs, well, you know what, you came here saying the same thing about your face suffocator. You said that it was a threat to your child's morality and everything about that, and we overrode you on that. Well, we're going to override you on this. Are you people following along? My God, I am not being hyperbole here. You are giving these people, a skeleton key to just simply unlock and dismantle all your rights. All they have to do is say it's health. It has to do with health, the health of your child. And if you object to it, well, so what? We can override your objections. Okay? All of this, we don't care if you object to it. Okay? We're going to teach your child. We're going to teach your man-child. We're going to teach your what? My God, God only knows how young they start. We're going to teach your 10-year-old little boy, okay, how to fuck another little boy in his ass. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. We're going to teach your little boy how to suck another little boy's dick. Why? Because it's not fair. It's not equity to only teach heterosexual sex ed. We need to teach all kinds of sexual education. And I need to teach your little boy, how do you know he's not gay? I find that offensive. How do you know? He hasn't figured it out yet. And of course, never mind that you're the goddamn parent that gave birth to, lives with, raises your child around the clock. Okay? But all they can do is step in and say, it's for their health. It's for their health that they learn how to fuck other little boys in the ass. Hey, isn't that right, Judge Cooper? Huh? They don't have to prove it. Just argue it. See? They don't have to demonstrate the facts of their point. All they have to do is just simply argue the theory. Okay? How about this? The right to opt his or her minor child out of any portion of the school district's comprehensive health education required under that statute that relates to sex education, instruction in acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, education, or any instruction regarding sexuality. See? You thought I was kidding. And remember, if they begin all this, teaching your little girl how to perform cunnilingus on another little girl, okay? If your 14-year-old daughter shows up at school and she's pregnant and wants the or thinks she's pregnant and wants the morning after pill, they'll give it to her. Why? Because they can override your objections. They don't have to call you or anything. Why? Because it's public health. It's a threat to her health. We feel she might hurt herself if she doesn't get the morning after pill. Okay? So all of the rights and guarantees in this can easily be overridden by that one twisted section in Section 4. When they don't have to demonstrate, quantify, when all they have to do is just argue. It's a theory. Okay? Line number 212. Okay? In accordance with statute, the right of a parent to exempt his or her minor child from immunizations. See? Are you paying attention? They're hoping that you aren't. So that's basically what is in the Florida Parents' Rights Bill here. Hopefully you're paying attention. Coming back to our PBS article here, I'm going to round it out with DeSantis's office response. It is not surprising that Judge Cooper would rule against parents' rights and their ability to make the best educational and medical decisions for their family, but instead rule in favor of elected politicians, spokeswoman Tyron Fensky said in a statement. This ruling, made with incoherent justifications, not based in science and facts, frankly, not even remotely focused on the merits of the case presented, and that's indeed correct. We just saw a judge that just simply ignored what the law actually said and ruled on a law that he wished it said. That's a pretty good way of putting it. So never mind what the law actually says. He just simply ruled on the law as for what he wished it said. The highly contagious propaganda variant led to an acceleration in cases of PCR cases around Florida. The record high hospitalization of people utilizing the hospital as Airbnbs, just like our Maxine and John and was it Justin? You had Justin up there, so they've got all this, they're chilling out, they're hanging out on their phones, they're blogging, they got their social media platforms going, and they are literally sucking up oxygen, And of course, they've got their comorbidities. I don't judge them for their comorbidities. However, I do judge the government entities socializing their comorbidities. I need you to share in their poor health. Their poor health is going to be your poor health. If something is a threat to them, then it's a threat to you. If they have to suffocate their face, then you got to suffocate your face. And that shouldn't be that way, okay? If we are healthy enough to go about living life like normal, okay, then we should be allowed to make our own decisions. Okay, let's see, it goes on to say here, By mid-August, more than 21,000 PCR cases were being added per day, and of course, those numbers are always changing. It's like, what was it, NBC, Kristen Wiig, SNL, Kristen Wiig, her character, Gilly. Sorry. That's what Gilly says. She fucks up. She knows she's fucking up. I know I said I wanted to work on my language. God forgive me. She deliberately, the deep state here, they deliberate. The deep state deliberately manipulates the data, and then if they get caught later, they just simply say sorry and feign ignorance. Sorry. Did I do that? Maybe Steve Urkel is a bit better. No, I think Gilly fits better. And that's what they do, sorry, I didn't mean to. But you keep doing it again and again, just like Gilly, you keep being a little badass. So they talk about these deaths and, oh well, if it gets revised later and we found out that we were fudging the data to inflate the numbers, oh well, we'll just simply say we're doing our best. Okay. So they got their PCR cases being added per day compared with about 8,500 a month earlier. And of course, that's all inflated. Remember, it's all Maxine's. Over the past week, new PCR cases, and hospitalizations have leveled off. In other words, they're kicking out the Airbnb people. There were 16,000 people hospitalized on Thursday, down from about 17,000 last week, but still almost 9 times higher. So they still got a bunch of Airbnb people in there in June. 10 districts that have defied DeSantis' order represent slightly more than half of the 2.8 million Florida public schools. So, this last paragraph right here, this really is where I'm going to end. I think I understand where Governor DeSantis' head is at. Who wants to send in army troops for a forced integration? Forced integration. And forced integration. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, it's like, because I know Biden already said that if DeSantis withholds money, he's going to use federal money. Yes, he's going to use all our money to fill the wage gap and whatnot. I'd be curious as to know. They're seeing how they're shipping around nurses and stuff around, because when they fire a bunch of nurses for rejecting the mark of the beast injection, they hire all these nurses and whatnot from all over the country. I'd be curious as to know if we could fill up those classrooms, because I got a feeling that if the National Guard shows up, the teachers are going to walk out. And when they walk out, I would very much indeed like to see, other teachers, substitutes, walk in and take over for as long as may be needed. I'd like to see some of our conservative billionaires. That'd be mighty nice to bankroll that. Because, who are we kidding? The Jewish oligarchy, they're the one that's bankrolling all this shit. However, before, I'm trying to think here, So they're saying half. Where's my marker? Slightly more than half Florida public school students are enrolled this year. So if half are going to end up, because frankly, if it were me, I'd just simply override the school district, just like you overrode the governor. But if half of the students are suffocated, well, then it still means that the other half are not. And that's what it's really all about, preserving the control data. That's what we have to have. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the deep state, they already know Lambda's not going to fly. You know, they've probably already sat down, discussion table, brainstorming, think tank. How can we get another variant out of this hoax and get people to believe in it? You know, your original COVID, that's all played out. Delta, people are sick to death of hearing of it, and quite so sick to death of hearing of it that the prospect of another variant is already being met with sarcasm and refute. Contempt and sarcasm. Okay, so Lambda is DOA, basically. There you go. That's what I want to say. Lambda's DOA as far as fear monger. I mean, I get it. You're hardcore, you know, center of the core of the cult. They're probably always going to be ready to drink the next glass of Kool-Aid, you know, and to inject the next injection, put on more masks, and all kinds of crazy shit. So, but I don't think abroad, you know, as a matter of fact, I do think a lot of Democrats are, you know, there was a couple of what is this, metaphors I was thinking of. I forget the name of the movie. Was it one of the Wayans brothers, and he was a football player, and he had a strong arm or something, or was it the Wayans brother? But it was at this league party, and this, I guess he's a linebacker or whatever he is. He's like literally forcing this woman in a hot tub, holding her head under the water until she sucks his dick. I mean, it's like, if it's underwater, exactly how long could she possibly suck your, you know? And anyway, he throws the football, busts him in the face with it, which causes him to release the woman. She comes up from the do any of you guys recognize the movie I'm describing? You know, it's like, it's like that. I see that with Democrats and the deep state, or, you know, the people who went along with it for the sake of the Democrats. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, if I'm using a good enough metaphor. It's like you just escaped the person, you know, meaning if DeSantis is successful, get the control data I showed you guys, it's all garbage. Let's now move on to midterms. Let's move on to the presidential general election. Let's get in there and let me clean house, restoring your constitutional rights, giving you parental rights, okay? The Democrats know that they've abused, okay, it's like they've abused their lover to the point where they know they have to continue on abusing them. That if they were to throttle up and let up, that they would end up being left. I think my analogies are falling apart on me here. But yeah, it's like, you know, she got up out that hot tub. You know, would you even come back to another league party? You know, would you, you escaped with your life. If you're able to escape this fake pandemic with your constitutional rights intact, without having your DNA warped and with endless injections, face suffocated, children traumatized, all screwed up, you're giving birth to babies that can't see your face, all kinds of fucked up shit. Okay? If you're able to escape this, are you going to come away traumatized to the point where it's like, holy shit, I am never voting Democrat again? I mean, I get there. I already see asshole Republicans out there. Republicans, they still got issues. They still got issues, and oh my God, but I'm going to tell you right now, the Democrats, the communists, China, deep state, oh my God, how did we get to this point where we're in this kind of a nightmare scenario? You know, we got to save ourselves. Nobody's going to save us, people. We got to save ourselves. All right, so DeSantis, I hope he's working on getting the control data. I'm just frustrated. I know they say don't put a whole bunch of eggs in people's baskets, and is DeSantis actually going to do anything? Is DeSantis a deep state operative? You know, I tell you, it's very frustrating. You know, let's see, what does this thing go on to say? In Fort Lauderdale, Tuesday, Broward County School Board told the Department of Education that it won't back down on its requirement that students suffocate their face. Its policy, like that of most other districts, gives parents a medical opt-out for students. Let's see. Its policy, like that of most other districts. Yes, but see, that's not what they're saying in what the judge just ruled. The judge is saying that they don't have an opt-out. That you don't have the opt-out. See, that they're not paying attention. They're lying to you again, right here. Just like the CNN anchor, you know? And she said that parents are not allowed to send their kids to school with a mask on. You can send them as many as you want. People, oh my God. This is just a nightmare. All right, 1:20, that's it. I'm letting you go. Thanks for hanging in. If you needed to take a break, I'll totally understand. That's it for now, people. Ronnie baby, you better not fuck us over, man. I'm telling you, you better not fuck us over. We're dependent on you. You gotta do it. You gotta bring back our freedoms. America is depending on you. That's it for now, guys. Total Control 871.